This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Know-How is brought to you by CacheFly.
This episode of Know-How is brought to you by DigitalOcean. Simple and fast cloud hosting built for developers. Deploy an SSD cloud server in 55 seconds. Try it today for free. Visit DigitalOcean.com. And once you sign up, be sure to enter the promo code KNOWHOW in the billing section to get your $10 credit. And by PillPack, a full-service pharmacy that combines personalized service, convenient packaging, and modern technology to make your life easier. Visit PillPack.com/twit to save $20 on vitamins and OTCs when you transfer your prescription. On today's show,
you'll know how to FPV.
welcome to Know-How. It's the Twitch show where we build, bend, break, and upgrade. I'm Father Robert Ballecer.
And I'm Bryan Burnett.
And for the next as many minutes as it takes, but probably pretty close to 45 minutes if our director has anything to say about it, we're going to be bringing you some of the tech that we've been geeking out to so you can take it home and geek out on your own.
That's right. And you know what? I have absolutely no idea what we're geeking out on.
We are geeking out on
FPV. That's right. I do.
We've been wanting to do this for a while. We've been teasing people with it. But now we actually thought we would build it into the 250 upgrade.
Yes. This is like the thing that got me most excited about flying quadcopters.
Yeah.
Was the feeling like you're flying.
Now, you remember, this was the original FPV 250. So this is the kit as it comes from HobbyKing after we assembled it for the first time. It promised, it actually even came with a little shelf for you to mount your FPV camera. The problem was, it just didn't have the oomph.
No, not with those little baby motors.
So what we did was last time, on last Thursday's episode, we showed you how for less than $100, actually considerably less than $100 if you had some of the parts already lying around, how to upgrade from your little teeny tiny baby 250 to a more monstrous 250.
The size difference alone on the motors is pretty intense.
It's pretty intense. Well, again, remember, each of these can put out, all four of these motors can put out maybe 600 grams of thrust for a 300-gram craft. So, you know, decent power-to-weight ratio, 2-to-1.
Okay.
This puts out between 600 and a kilogram of thrust per motor for maybe a 600-gram craft.
Okay, yes. I'm not as good with numbers as you are, but that's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a metric butt ton, I believe. Is the,
scientifically speaking.
Scientifically speaking, it's a metric butt ton. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to show you in real time, live, some of the steps that you should do to finish your installation. This got you most of the way through. It showed you how to mount your motors. It showed you how to get your electrical system attached and tested. And now we're going to give you the finishing, the electronics, the avionics of your FPV 250. Now, we did this for the HobbyKing 250, but this will work for any craft that you have. This should be the final step of your build.
It looks kind of like a mess right now, Padre.
It does look like a mess. In fact, if you go to the side view here, Alex, what we've got is there we go. We've got the avionics is out right now. This is the flight controller that we removed. Remember, we saved the frame, the avionics, the receiver, and the props from the original craft. We added a cage, we added a more advanced power distribution system, which included power leads. So we have the ability to add like FPV systems or lights without having to disassemble it and get back into the power distribution unit.
Yes, you don't want to put it all together and then realize you have to tear back into it.
Exactly, and that's a pain in the butt. But we also kept the same ESCs. And that's actually with these motors, that should be more than enough to power the craft.
You say so.
If I say so, exactly. So what we're going to do now is let's show you some of the steps. The first step that we need to do is we've already tested out the electronics because we used a multimeter in the last episode to make sure we had no shorts and to make sure we had continuity where we needed it to go. If you go to the overhead, the direct overhead, Alex, as long as red is going to red and black is going to black, and that's all the way around, we know that we've got the electrical hooked up properly.
Okay.
This sounds really simple. Please check.
Before you hook up everything and try and fly away?
There's nothing quite like smoking your electronics because, you know, especially I get this all the time, like it's late at night, you're really tired, you just want to
you want to fly. Yeah.
No, take the extra time to make sure that everything is connected properly. There's a lot of current that's going to be flowing through these, and if you misconnect, positive and negative.
You're going to be grounded a lot longer than if you just...
you lose an ESC.
Yeah.
All right. Now, remember, we drilled through our bathtub hull. If we've got these 4 screws, this actually goes through the bottom. I could have just used nylon spacers to screw the flight controller onto the power distribution board and then screw the power distribution board onto the chassis. But that's kind of janky. If you take a hard hit, it will pop it right out.
Okay, yeah.
So this is tied to the chassis. Unless you crack the chassis, this isn't coming out. So the first thing we have to do, take a look. This is the flight controller. Remember, most flight controllers have a way to tell you which way is the front of the craft. Because if you install this backwards, bad things will happen.
Yeah, don't you just have to remember the controls in reverse?
Exactly. Yeah, just to fly backwards.
No problem.
Now, we never disconnected this. So this receiver has always been connected to this flight controller. So we don't have to rewire that. We will have to rewire the ESCs, the electronic speed controllers that are attached to the individual motors. But first, let's mount this. This is a little snug. I probably should have put a bit more play when I drilled these holes, but it mounts quite nicely like that. And I'm just going to use 4 nylon spacers on the corners here to hold this down. The nice thing about this is if I need to add something else on top, like for example, if I wanted to add GPS, this setup gives me another layer that I can build upon.
You're always thinking modular.
I like modular. If I was building a pure racing quadcopter, I probably wouldn't do that. I would build this for the lowest weight possible, solder everything in.
Right.
But this is still, even though it's going to do FPV, it's still sort of our playground.
Right.
Right? Right. Okay. So now that's got my flight controller in here, I need to connect my ESCs to the flight controller. Now, if you remember, looking at it this way, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. Check your flight controller. This is for a KK. Some flight controllers use a different pattern, but that's important because that will determine what order you're going to plug your ESCs into the flight controller. If you plug it in wrong, if you cross-connect, what will happen is the first time you try to lift off, it'll just flip.
Right, because it won't be spinning in the right directions.
Well, the motors will spin in the right direction, but it won't throttle up the right one.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Like you'll want it to go forward, and it throttles up the motors on the left, and it'll just flip you over.
Okay.
Right. So what we're going to do is we're going to follow that. If you go to the overhead again, or go to the side view, actually, Alex. Yeah, we go. So this is going to be 1, that's going to be 2, that's going to be 3, and that's going to be 4. And I'll show you where you can reconfirm that inside the actual KK. That's what I like about the KKs. It's a very beginner type controller. If you look at this, remember there's negative and there's signal, and then there's positive. Positive is always in the middle, but you have to get the ground and the signal correct. Signal on a KK always goes on the inside.
Okay.
So ground on the outside,
signal on the inside.
Go to the overhead here. So this is ground, this is signal. So if I look at this, that dark one, that brown one is my ground, that yellow one is my signal. That's number 1, that goes there. Okay, so my number 2, same thing, signal on the inside, that goes there. Number 3, signal on the inside, that goes there. And my last one, signal on the inside, actually, see, I flipped that one. That would have been bad. That goes there. And boom. Okay, so I've now got them hooked up. Go back to the side view. 1, 2, 3, 4. These ESCs have a battery eliminator circuit, which means that they will provide 5 volts back to the flight controller, which will in turn provide 5 volts to the receiver. So I don't have to hook up any special lead to power up the flight controller and the receiver.
Cool.
Theoretically, assuming that I didn't cross-connect anything, or I don't have any excess solder, when I connect this battery, which I have attached to the bottom of the craft, nothing bad should happen.
Okay.
This could actually be very entertaining TV in just a second here. This should light
Maybe
up.
I'll step back.
Okay, and
I mean, this isn't your first rodeo, so.
there we go. Okay, good.
No smoke.
So if you go to the overhead, Alex, this is the screen that I get. It's
safe mode.
Wait, no, this way.
You want to face it.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the screen that we've got on our quadcopter. The first thing we want to do is we're going to jump in and we're going to go to mode. Where is that?
Mode.
Motor layout. There we go. So this shows us 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm set for a quadcopter. More importantly, if you look in on the screen, it shows you the rotation. So 1 goes clockwise, 2 counterclockwise, 3 clockwise, 4 counterclockwise, because that's the next thing I need to do. Remember, I disconnected my motors from my ESCs, so I'm not sure if they're rotating the right way when I power up.
Right.
Okay, so now that I know that I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 correct, let's go ahead and make sure that our motor rotation is right. I'm going to detach this, power it down. I'm going to bring up my receiver, turn this on. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and repower it. Beep. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and arm it. So that red light goes arm, and now I can actually give it a little bit of power. Now it's hard to see which way this is spinning.
Yeah, no, impossible.
And what you could do is you can attach a piece of tape, or you could just throttle up and down and see, if you can catch which way they're spinning.
Whoa, you just lost the cap.
I just lost a spinner. Oops, sorry about that.
Almost on this one too.
Come back, go back there. The easiest way, however, the way that I found to do it, is to use a small bit of zip tie.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm going to power it up. And what you do is, let's say I want to check the rotation on this one. Power it up. And you just touch it and you see which way it gets pulled to. That shows you which way it's rotating.
Right.
So that's rotating clockwise, that's good. This is rotating, that's rotating clockwise, that's bad.
That's bad.
This is rotating clockwise, that's good. This is rotating counterclockwise.
So it's just the one.
So I've got one that's reversed.
I have a feeling you did that on purpose.
I may have done that on purpose. Actually, the funny thing is when I first hooked this up last night, every single motor was spinning the wrong way. I've never had that. I normally have at least one that's going the right direction. Like, whoa, okay, how about that? So I'm going to flip this over, and very easy to fix rotation. I've got 3 leads going from the ESC to the motor. All I have to do is take any 2. It doesn't matter which 2. Just take 2 and swap them. And now when I spin this back over and power it up, and I test it.
It should be spinning in the right direction.
So we want this to go counterclockwise, and it's going counterclockwise.
Nice, cool.
There we go. So now I've got proper rotation on all my motors, and I can go ahead and tidy up my ESCs, because right now they're sort of hanging off the bottom here. I'm using this Velcro tie.
Yeah, you don't want to keep that.
You're going to tidy that up later on. Yeah. But what I can do, see, this has a nice indentation, and I cut these motor leads short enough so that this fits right in there like that.
Just kind of fold it over.
And this goes right over the top and creates like a cap. And then I can use a zip tie, a single zip tie, and just cinch it down, and that will hold both the ESC and the motor leads in place. And now I know it's going the right way. I can just make that nice and snug because I don't want that moving. And then I just use my snips and snip off the excess. There we go.
Boom. Yeah. Clean.
And we'll do the others later on.
We don't got time for that.
Exactly. Now, before we put on the props, this is okay. We talked about this during the safety episode.
Right.
There's always that desire to get flying, so you're going to want to put the props on right away. Don't do it.
Resist the urge.
Resist the urge. The props are the last thing that you put on. It's right before you start to test the crap. Because now that we've tested motor rotation, what we do need to do is check the receiver. Is it responding the way we think it should respond?
Right, because you don't want to put everything on and then realize you have to take it back off.
Exactly, and you don't want to be testing things while you've got props on. Because if it takes off on you, we got issues.
Oh, yeah, you can hurt yourself pretty good too with those props.
So we're going to turn this on. And I'm going to go ahead and go to the overhead, Alex. Let me get this back in there. Okay, I'm going to go here. I'm going to go to receiver tests. And this is showing me what the, so with the controller at idle, that's the input I'm getting. So my elevator is a little no bueno.
-1?
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to jump into, let's see if I can do this.
There you go.
So in my controller settings, I have the ability to enter sub-trims. And the sub-trim will allow me to zero out all of my settings. So these are my channels to get these closer to what I actually want. So let's go down to my second setting. And I want this to be at 0. I'm going the wrong way.
Ah, okay.
Right about there. Good. And then I want my rudder zeroed out. Hey, but there.
And so what they can't see is that you're dialing it in on your
I'm dialing
remote.
it, right. So 0, 0, 0, 0. In other words, so when I've got no inputs on the controller, I want these all at 0.
Right.
Now remember, this is a PWM input, so it will fluctuate a tiny bit.
Okay.
That's normal, but try to get it so that when it's at rest, it will be at 0 more than it's at any other value.
What's the auxiliary mean?
Oh, auxiliary allows me to use this. If you actually go to the overhead again, so I can flip this on and off.
Oh.
So this this allows me to engage full auto leveling or not. So if I'm just flying around, auto leveling will mean the controller will keep it level.
Right.
If I release the controls, it will go back to level.
Right.
If I turn it off, it's full manual. I
And
can
that
do
means
anything.
you can do flips.
I can do
stuff
flips.
like that.
I can go crazy. I can do things like spin it upside down and spin up the props to make it like go straight into the ground before flipping it over and going back up.
I was gonna say, it's just have it go straight in the ground. Some people do that by accident. Yeah.
I've done that by accident. Now, it's called an incomplete flip.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got this. Let's go ahead and save that. Now, what we need to do is we need to get the FPV installed. This is going to be a really simple process, again, because I'm having trouble with the connector, because we added the auxiliary ports. So we've got an easy way to hook up power. I don't have to tap anything else from the battery. I don't have to add a special connector. I'm just going to plug it straight in because I've got this. We reviewed this. Oop, Alex, stop it. We reviewed this.
It was your fault, Padre.
Yeah, it was me. We reviewed this a while ago. This is a standard FPV kit that we bought for $100 or so. Not a great transmitter, but it will work for what we want. It includes a camera. We've got a nice little circular polarized antenna.
Yep.
Power is provided via this. Just a nice little power connector. That's a JST, which just happens to be the same connector I put on my power distribution
Go
board.
figure.
Yeah, it's so weird like that, ain't it? So here's what we're going to do. I've 3D printed this, but you could use one that comes with the kit. There's actually a not so elegant one that gets included, but this flips right over the top stands here.
Cool.
And this allows me to mount my camera like so.
That's such a nice little
How you
3D
like
printed
that,
guy.
right?
Yeah.
How about that? And then again, total jank. I'm gonna use some foam tape and a zip tie.
Tape it down.
To tape it down. Don't ever do that. I'm just doing it here because I'm impetuous and young-ish.
Yeah.
Young-ish, and I want to get up in the air. So I'm going to use a little bit of foam tape to keep the vibration from making the camera unusable, because when this thing vibrates, that will translate directly into what I see.
Right, and then you won't be able to fly.
I won't be able to fly. So I'm going to put this in here, and then I'm going to use a zip tie to hold it down where I want it. You're going to do what I want.
Zip ties and duct tape, man's
That's
best
all
friends.
you need. That's like 90% of quadcopter flying. Come on, get them there.
Easy now, easy does it.
Stay on target. Stay on target.
So yeah, unlike us, take your time.
Hippo, you've turned off your targeting computer.
I don't need a targeting computer.
Okay, there we go. That's the most jank FPV setup you will
But
see.
it works. It works good.
It will work until it falls out, and then
Whatever.
it'll be funny.
It'll be.
Ooh,
Whoa! Ah!
how about that? Okay.
Uh,
So that gives us our FPV setup. Let's actually make sure that it's working, though. We're going to go ahead and plug this into one of the auxiliary connectors that we equip the craft with, like so. And the nice thing about this is I don't have to turn on a separate subsystem. When I provide power to the quadcopter, it will automatically power up my FPV system.
yeah, I was powering my FPV system on a separate battery. I had like a little battery on the top and a big battery on the bottom, and it made my craft so heavy and unbalanced.
It's a little unbalanced, a little heavy. So let's go ahead and turn on the system, and let's power up, like so. And Alex, when you've got an input on 11, go ahead and show them what it looks like. There you go.
What?
So that's what my FPV will look like. I actually have a set of goggles that will allow me to see through the front of the camera, which it's a little
Hey
fuzzy
there,
right
little
now.
guy.
Yeah,
Oh, you
yeah.
can't you dial in like the focus on that
You
camera?
can, you
But
can.
yeah, whatever.
We'll do that in a bit. Actually, let's see if we can do that right now. Wait.
Wait for.
Wait, I had it. No, gone. Wait.
That's probably about as focused as it's gonna get right there.
Okay, that
Can you
works.
focus now?
Okay, so now I know my FPV works as far as getting it to the TriCaster. Let's make sure that it works to these goggles, because these goggles are the ones that I'm going to be using when I actually want to view out of the front of the craft.
Right.
So I'm going to give myself a little bit of power here. Like so.
Okay.
Let's see. There we go. And I've got vision.
All right, let me see, be sure. Oh, yep, totally. Let's see. Yeah, that looks good.
Yeah. So now what we need to do is let's go ahead and button it up, because we need to balance it. Before we go FPV...
I just want to fly it, Padre.
No. See, again, I'm trying to keep you from doing all the mistakes that I did. The first thing I did when I got this is I'm like, let's go outside and fly it. The problem is if you don't balance the craft before you go FPV, you will spend all your time fighting the craft.
Okay.
You want this to be as smooth as possible, because believe it or not, it takes a lot of time to get used to flying FPV. Your brain's not used to sitting in the quadcopter.
Right, that's true. Okay. I just figured it was going to be like a video game.
Yeah, I know, right? Everyone does. Okay, so what we have is we've got the top of this, this cage. So we're going to go ahead and lock this in, and then we're going to attach the antennas, because we need those out of the way as well. This is going to be so, you're really going to have to fix this. This is so jank. Sorry about that.
Let's just fly it.
Okay, so I've got 8 screws. Now, if I was doing this for real, I would use this. I've got this nice stick of Loctite glue. I've gone to this. I should go to over the overhead. I've gone to this over the liquid. This is so much easier to apply.
Yeah, especially on these little screws.
Yeah, and you end up not wasting a lot, because you just put a tiny bit on the threads and it holds it down, it gums it in.
But you don't want to do that for this, because it's kind of jank wiring. So.
It's jank wiring. We're going to disassemble this because we want to make sure we send you to Hawaii with a working craft.
Yay!
Yeah. Because you know what? Your wife's going to end up being a better pilot than you. I know it.
Yeah, probably.
I feel it. Now, Brian, when you have been flying, you tried flying FPV once. You didn't like the feeling.
Well, it's a little unnerving, because you feel when you have the goggles on, your complete view of vision is just the screen of the FPV. You feel like you should be moving with the quad and stuff.
Yeah, I know that feeling completely.
And also, my first experience wasn't the best, because it kept cutting in and out. I think we were flying with a group of other people with FPV, and it was cutting out with the signal every once in a while.
And you were running carbon fiber props.
I was running carbon fiber props. I was running a big quad, and I knew I would hurt someone or break something if I crashed. So I was a little nervous about that. But you realize how much perception you lose if it's not like a clear, strong signal, and it's like cutting in and out. You don't know where the quad is exactly. You have to like try and lift up the goggles and see where the quad is, and look at the FPV and stuff. So I'm hoping this will be a little bit more solid than the jankier setup I had before.
Not really.
No, it's going to be like that?
It's going to be totally like that.
Damn.
And in fact, it's going to be even worse, because I'm getting really jank on how I'm mounting this now. So
oh, great.
Sorry, man. You're going to have to fix this.
So can you broadcast to another signal and record it that way, or
you can, but it doesn't look good. I mean, remember, you're transmitting wirelessly, and that technology doesn't look great. So what I would suggest is if you are looking to get actual video, like you want aerial videography, aerial photography, mount a GoPro. Mount that little session we had on last Thursday's episode.
Put it on the bottom.
Put it on the bottom, or put it up top with the FPV camera on the bottom, and you're good to go. And that will give you so much better quality than you will ever get broadcasting through the air.
I guess that's what Sharpoo does, huh? He has like the FPV camera, then he has a GoPro on top of his racing quad. That's actually at an angle. It looks like it's pointing straight up almost, because the whole time he's flying, he's like...
that's the thing. When you fly forward, your quad's going to tilt. So, when we start out, your camera's flat.
Right.
As you get more advanced, you have your camera angled forward so you can do this. Sharpoo's is basically at a 90-degree angle.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Because he flies like this. He is an incredible pilot. That man has skills that I will never, ever have. But let's go ahead and finish this up. So we're going to put this so we've got a place to keep our antenna nice and safe. And then we will be ready to take to the skies, at least to calibrate our craft. Because remember, Brian, I told you, this is one of the biggest mistakes that people will make. They get it, they're so excited, they want to fly, and then they fly it into the ground. Now, we will fly into the ground, but we're going to do it on our terms.
Okay, good. Okay. That's the way it should be.
So again, I'm going with the Jank setup. I'm just zip tying an antenna to a zip tie.
Right.
It's like totally meta, man.
Don't we do that anyway?
We do that anyway.
Yeah. I always thought it looked kind of cool. Looks like a little tail.
It is a tail. There we go. All right. So let me snip off the excess. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do basic flight testing, and we're also going to see if I can get a little bit of performance handling, because I have to check the throttle curve.
Okay.
All right, so let's go ahead and go over to the TNT set.
Changing sets.
Changing sets. Let's go ahead and walk on over. Dun, 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 dun. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and secure the battery, because I want to make sure this thing is going to stay tied in. I don't want the battery flopping out, obviously, during flight, because that's generally frowned upon.
That would definitely throw off the balance.
That would throw off the balance. By the way, I have not balanced this for center of gravity, so it is going to be a little touchy. Now is the time, because we're going to do our flight testing, that we're actually going to attach our props.
Okay.
And notice, I mean, I don't normally do this because I'm a bad person. I normally put my props when I'm in my lab. But you really do want to save the props installation for when you're actually on site.
Okay.
It's safer that way. So if you can grab the props and grab that little Allen wrench so I can attach them.
All right. Props.
And the other quick hint, always put your prop nuts back on. I know there's a lot of people who are like, well, I'm just going to take them off again. Always have them on, because they are so easy to lose, and once you lose them, it's hard to replace.
Don't lose your nuts.
Don't lose your nuts. So I've got counterclockwise, I've got clockwise, I've got counterclockwise, and clockwise. Oh, no. Yes. That.
1, 2, 3, 4.
There we go.
Clockwise, counter.
Clockwise counter. Okay. So let's go ahead and put these back on.
So it's prop, then washer.
Prop, washer, then the spinner.
Yeah, I think I did washer, then prop, then spinner, and that's when I ran into problems.
Well, yeah, because the part that wants to spin free is the spinner, and so the washer helps to not do that.
Right. Makes sense.
And I just use a little Allen wrench to give this a nice little tighten beyond finger tight. It's
just a little beyond.
Just a little bit beyond.
Because over-tightening would not be good either.
No, if you over-tighten, you can strip the thread. That's not the destruction of the motor. It just means you have to buy a new hub for it, which
that's kind of a pain.
Don't do that. I mean, it is not costly, but unless you've got a bunch of those in your bag, you're done flying until you fix that.
You can't zip tie that, huh? No.
You could glue it like once.
Yeah, just don't break the prop.
That's about it. So now what we're going to do is let's do some basic flying.
I might step back a little.
So just like we did before, we're going to go ahead and power ourselves up. And you should be getting input from this, Alex, so you can actually see out of the front of the quad as soon as it establishes its sync with the transmitter.
I think I want to record this from this angle, too.
Are you getting it on 11, Alex?
I am on the monitor, but not the TriCaster, but I didn't change anything on...
Okay, well, we'll get to that in a bit. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to spin up a little bit, and I need to check my input. So I've got forward, back, left, or right. So I can see it. I know which way it's leaning. And I'm just listening to the props. Well, I'm scraping on something.
Yeah, is there, please don't hit the throttle. Doesn't look like it's
what
that.
Am I touching?
Doesn't, it looks like you might be touching just a little bit. That's weird.
Oh, that shouldn't be touching at all.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? We're gonna destroy this. That's okay.
All right. Here we go, folks.
So now that I know I'm leaning the right way, well, hold on. Ooh.
It shouldn't be that close to it.
It really shouldn't be like that.
That's weird. Does your motor move to the left slightly?
No. I think, you know what? The prop is just flexing.
They're too powerful.
They're too powerful. Well, let's try it again. This is probably going to fracture, so this might be really good TV in just a bit.
Maybe we should sand it down or something.
Yeah, let's grab a knife and let's get rid of a little bit of that material because otherwise we will crash this. So folks, this is a good reason why you do a preliminary test. We're rubbing on the 3D item that we added to balance out the FPV camera, and evidently it's just slightly bit off.
I'm gonna grab a knife fix-it kit.
Yeah. Well, Jammer B has a knife on his desk. That's all we need. We just need to remove a tiny bit of material from the 3D print.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I see where it is. So what's happening? Let me go back to this overhead. What's happening? There we go. Is coming into contact with that. So we're just going to remove a tiny bit of material off of the 3D print.
Shave it down a little.
Now, normally I would do this safely.
Yeah, making me nervous watching you do it towards yourself.
Actually, if we ran the carbon props, it would probably do it for us. That's a little bit more. Okay.
That's live know-how for you.
Mm-hmm. The one part I didn't test is, of course, the part that's not working.
Well, it's just strange. It's not hitting on the other side.
The other side, yeah.
So, and I've used that same model before. So unless your motor mount moved slightly.
I think we're good. Okay.
Cool. All right.
Let's try that.
Nothing a little razor can't fix.
You know, razors fix pretty much everything. So let's power it up and see if we get the same rattle of death.
The death rattle. Nope. Sounds clear.
Okay, let's test lean. That's to the left, to the right, forward, back. Okay, so one of the things that I need to check with this is right now it's actually really hard to hover this. So what you want to do is you want to find you want to find the place, the spot on my throttle where the quadcopter tends to hover. And for me right now, it's about 55%. And I'll put it back down. And so what I want to do now is go over to back to the overhead, Alex. I'm going to set my my throttle curve. There we go. So that it balances out near that spot at which I was hovering. So right now I've got a straight throttle curve. What I'm going to do is I'm going to level it so that right around the 50%, 55% mark, it makes like a flat area. And this should make it much easier for me to keep it in hover. In fact, let me go up a tiny bit. I'm going to say about that. There we go. Now go back over here.
Cool.
Let's see if I can hover it any easier than I could before. I'm armed up. Okay. There we go. There we go. Much easier to keep a hover, much easier to keep gentle.
Nice.
All right. Let me put it back down.
Okay.
All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and button up a little bit. We're going to make sure that this is ready to go, and then we're going to make a flight around the studio to show you what FPV looks like. We're going to actually let you wear the FPV goggles.
Oh, geez.
And we'll see if we can break something.
Okay.
Hey, Brian, you know what I want to do? I want to show them something else FPV that I found at CES.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but before we do that, could we take a break? Because I'd like to thank the first sponsor of this episode of Know How.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, and it's DigitalOcean. Now, DigitalOcean has been with us for a long, long time, and quite simply, DigitalOcean is the web done right. They've got a system of using droplets, which are virtualized containers that allows you to take any app, any service, any operating system, and to pack it together so that I can deploy it across their system. Now, what I love about DigitalOcean is that they make it easy for me to do one-touch installs. Any operating system I want to use. Do I want to use Ubuntu? Do I want to use a flavor of Linux that's near and dear to my heart? I can do that. I can also do one-click installs of things like, a wiki, Drupal, Docker, Node.js. It's really that simple to get up and running, and really that's why they've got over 600,000 developers, including Twit's Randall Schwartz, Aram Newcomb, and me using it. One of the things I really like about this approach to services is that I can start with a minimum amount of resources invested. Let's say a few hours on a single box so that I could test my app or my service, see if it will survive in the real world, maybe give out an invitation to a friend or two. And once I know it's production ready, I can move it to global, worldwide deployment with just the slide of a switch. DigitalOcean makes it simple and easy for you to grow from your first client to your billionth client. Now, it's highly scalable to meet the demands of a rapidly growing application or business. You can use up to 20 CPUs. You've got plenty of SSD space, and it's just one of these things that grows as you grow. Now, for me, the most important part is the fact that they've got an active community. This tells me that this is a service that people don't just use, but they like enough, they love enough to come back and help new users. And that's exactly what you get when you use DigitalOcean. Also, it's easy to get started. You can deploy an SSD cloud server in as little as 55 seconds. You should be out of excuses, but if you're not, let me give you one more reason to use DigitalOcean, and that is they're going to let you try it for free. That's right, DigitalOcean has incredibly affordable and straightforward pricing with their servers starting at just $5 per month, and there's also hourly pricing available starting at less than a penny per hour. But they're going to make it possible for you to get started today and deploy your SSD cloud server for free. Visit DigitalOcean.com and create an account. Once you confirm your email and account information, go to the billing section and enter the promo code KNOWHOW for a free $10 credit. That's plenty to get started and explore what DigitalOcean can do for you. That's DigitalOcean.com, and once you sign up, enter the code KNOWHOW, KNOWHOW, in the billing section to get your $10 credit for free. Oh, and by the way, congrats to DigitalOcean. They just launched their 10 millionth droplet. DigitalOcean, it's the web done right. And we thank DigitalOcean for their support of Know-How. Hey, Alex, let's go ahead and FPV them. Remember in the good old days back in grade school when you used to make paper airplanes and throw them out the window? Well, forget those good old days because they were obsolete before they started, because we're here at PowerUp Toys with a paper airplane with a twist. I'm speaking with the CEO of the company, Shai, who's going to explain why your next paper plane is going to have some amazing tech. Shai, this was a Kickstarter darling. It was a device that you could put onto any paper plane and turn it into a Bluetooth-controlled flight monster. Tell me a little bit about this.
Okay, so PowerUp 3 is essentially taking the well-known paper airplane that every kid at the age of 8 can fold, and by connecting this piece of technology, now it can fly not 5 seconds but 10 minutes. You control it by using Bluetooth technology. So essentially, you are making something yourself, and it flies. And this is still #1 on Kickstarter in flight. And today I have something really even more interesting to show you, so you could. You can check it out, PowerUp FPV.
Exactly, so we've gone from this to, I'm gonna say it's a little upscale, because now not only is it dual propeller, so I get a bit more oomph for my go, but it's also FPV, which means I can watch first-person view out of the front of my paper plane. Tell me why you developed this over the original.
Okay, so good question. And when we did the original Kickstarter, our backers actually told us, hey, does it have a camera? Because maybe they thought this little tip is a camera. And I thought about that. Yeah, with Bluetooth, that's not really possible. And let's explore that. As a pilot myself, many years, I know what flying is all about. That experience of, taking off, flying over the trees, etc. And I thought, wouldn't it be amazing to take a paper airplane and give that experience in live streaming video? So we partnered with the famous guys at Parrot and helped us bring this vision into reality. We invested in developing algorithms for autopilot flight, and now you can actually fly and soar above the trees with a paper airplane that you construct yourself. And you can make different airplanes as well, so you make it yourself and you fly it.
I have to add, it's a nice touch that you've got cardboard goggles for the FPV. It pretty much makes everything paper. This is your iPhone, and you've got the app installed. How would I control this craft?
Okay, so we have a few different options. So first of all, the paper airplane module actually creates its own Wi-Fi streaming. So you don't need any router. This creates its own hotspot. You can see that the latency is really nice. And we created this nice kind of app that gives you a cockpit view. The camera itself also rotates towards the rear, so it'll actually give you a kind of a selfie when you take off, and you can capture that, and you see the airplane zooming up at the air. And when you fly first-person view, what you need to do is go to first-person view mode. It looks like a Google Cardboard kind of app. You slide this into your Google Cardboard, and then you buckle up, and you launch it. And as you launch it, the propellers will start automatically. And if you look up, it'll go up, look down, right and left. And you can fly this up to 10 minutes. And it's a very exciting kind of experience. It flies up to 20 miles an hour, 200 yards range, and it's really a fun kind of product.
Shai, I have to ask, here in the Sands, you are surrounded by companies that are selling multi-$100,000 drones with the most advanced technology available, with GPS location, and yet you've managed to capture imagination. That's what the Kickstarter thing was all about. You made people both nostalgic for what they used to do and hopeful for what kind of tech they could put on it. Why is this such a success?
Because every kid at the age of 8 learns how to fold an airplane, and that's probably his first science experiment, taking a piece of paper, folding, throwing, launching, learning, and it's something that it stays with you also when you get older. And once you see this thing, you feel like, hey, I know this, I know how to do this, I got to put this thing on it, I want to test it. So it's actually something that everybody already knows, it's easy to explain, and you want to try it. It inspires you to do it. Other quads, it's fun to fly, they have great cinematography. Here, you're actually making it, and you're experiencing.
All right, now, if the folks at home want to find out more, where do they go? Where can they kickstart these? Where can they buy them?
Okay, so PowerUp 3 is currently on PowerUpToys.com or Amazon.com. PowerUp FPV is today, actually, the Kickstarter is ending. Go to Kickstarter.com and write PowerUp FPV, and you'll get the special deal. It'll ship this June, and later it'll be for a more expensive price later this year, towards the holidays.
Shai, thank you very much for speaking with us. Thank you for sharing this. I think it brings out the inner geek to think about making a craft that will fly with just a little bit of advanced technology. Folks, if you want to power up, you got to build it, make it, fold it, fly it. Let's break again real quick to thank the second sponsor of this episode of Know How. Hey, Bryan.
Yeah?
You know what I love?
Do you like your vitamins?
I love taking my vitamins and my pills, but I like putting them all into individual containers so that I have to remember when I have to take them and what to.
Sounds
no,
horrible.
I don't like that at all.
That's not fun at all.
No,
that sounds like a lot of work.
That is terrible. And actually, that's why we've got PillPack. PillPack's a brand new sponsor of Know How, and they give you an easier way to get your prescriptions, your vitamins, your OTCs in one easy-to-use packet. Now, this is how it looks. So what you do is you set what you need. What are the vitamins? Like, for example, this is for Elliot Williams. Elliot has cranberry, 118 milligrams. He's got fish oil, 500 milligrams of soft gel, melatonin, a multivitamin tab, a vitamin B complex, a vitamin C 500 milligram tab, and a vitamin D 400 IU tab. Now, he could try to remember when he should take that. He could use a little pill minder, or he could have it spelled out for him. You just tear these off at the time that it has on the packet, and that's when you take it.
Yeah.
That's in a nutshell, that's exactly what PillPack does. It gives you an easy-to-use online pharmacy where you can have every type of medication, every type of vitamin, every type of OTC picked for you by robots. Now, they pre-sort and deliver your medications and vitamins in these easy-to-tear packets, so you don't have to worry about those Sunday pill boxes that you sometimes forget. They do this by using robots and digital imaging technology, along with real-life pharmacists, to make sure that you have an accurate count in every single pill pack. Their pharmacists are available 24/7 from the privacy of your own home, so you don't have to have those awkward conversations with a pharmacist about what you may or may not need and what might work. They'll handle everything for you online. There's no extra cost beyond your standard copay, and shipping is always free. Now, one of the things I really like about PillPack, and I think this sets them aside, is that they will make sure that you're compatible, your insurance plan that is, with PillPack. they're not just going to transfer everything over and then stick you with a huge bill because your provider won't cover it. They'll make sure that everything is taken care of in a no muss, no fuss, no worry transfer. Now, switching is easy. You just sign up on the secure site and they take care of everything for you. It was recognized by Time Magazine as a top 25 invention. Jill Duffy gave it a great review in PC Magazine. There's also a PillPack medication reminder app for the iPhone and the Apple Watch. So if you are a digital person, you can now have a reminder when you're supposed to take your pills. Oh, PillPack is medication simplified, and it's something that you really need to try. You won't believe how much easier it is once you've got PillPack on your side. Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to visit PillPack.com/twit to sign up now. Their site is beautiful, and it only takes 5 minutes to sign up. When you use our link and transfer your prescriptions to PillPack, you'll get a credit for $20 worth of vitamins and OTCs. That's PillPack.com/twit. PillPack.com/twit. And we thank PillPack for their support of know-how. Hey, Brian.
Yes.
Ready to fly?
I am. I've been eagerly waiting this.
So do you want to wear these or should I wear these?
Well, I'm guessing with my glasses, I probably won't be able to see that well with them.
Okay. So how about this? I'm gonna actually we're gonna fly along with the rest of the chat room here, the know-howers. So I just put a fresh battery into this. Let's go ahead and power it up, and then we're gonna try a little FPV and see how we can get away. I want people to notice this is not gonna be a solid picture. You know, we're gonna try to do our best to put it in places where it's not going to interfere.
Right.
But when you're flying FPV, you're going to be dealing with interference. You're going to be dealing with you know, the camera not wanting to shoot what you want it to shoot.
Right.
But let's go ahead and fly it around a little bit.
Which is the scariest part of FPV for me.
This is the scariest part of FPV. Go ahead and leave it actually, yeah, there we go. Because I'm going to use that in order to fly around.
Wait, you're not going to use the goggles?
Well, because if I use the goggles, I need...
You need to actually see it.
Yeah, because there's too much stuff around me, and I don't want to bump into anything, because there's a lot of very expensive equipment around here.
Okay.
Yeah?
All right. Does it look okay with it over my glasses? Whoa, a lot of vibration going on. Oh, no, that's pretty smooth. Nice. There's Alex, the TriCaster. There's the twit set. Not very much interference so far.
Well, yeah, but right now we got a line of sight.
Yeah, so as soon as you go out of sight, though, how are you going to do that? Oh, there he goes out into the entryway. Careful. Easy. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, I feel a little
Stay on
sick.
it. I'm gonna watch the screen. Stay on this camera the whole time, Alex.
Stay on target.
Stay on target.
Stay on target.
Stay on target.
You turned off your firing computer.
See, this is the thing, though. You have no peripheral vision. So if you don't know what's around you, you're going to have trouble flying FPV. This is why a lot of people use a spotter.
Ah. Whoa.
Ooh, see? There's a globe. That would have been bad.
Yeah, I would not have seen that.
And now, a lot of people have used sort of fisheye. But the problem with using fisheye is then your perspective is all skewed. And it's difficult for you to figure out exactly which way you're heading.
It's almost like I want 3 cameras. Yeah, one on the left, the right, and the center.
Right, right.
Okay, cool. There's the kitchen.
Now remember, this is just a couple of feet away, and the image is starting to break up a little bit. And if you start going really fast, what you don't want is you don't want to be in a situation where you're having to make like a hard bank just as you hit an area of interference, which is why anytime you're going to fly an FPV course, what you absolutely have to do is you have to make sure that you run the course a couple of times to see what kind of interference you're going to run into.
Wow.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Whoa, easy
That's
there.
a ball.
You think you can make it into the basement?
The basement's got a hard turn. Let's try it. Let's find out.
Padre's willing to try it.
Well, it's your craft, so I mean, worst case scenario, your stuff breaks.
Oh, maybe we should not do it then.
Well, the funny thing about this is, so flying indoors is actually a lot harder than flying outdoors, because when you get into an enclosed space, you're actually going to run into like updrafts off the wall.
Oh, yeah.
Excuse me, Padre, can you take a break on the table there and refocus the camera?
Sure.
We're a little fuzzy right now.
Yeah, I wonder if it got bumped.
Let's focus on those bricks.
One sec. All right. Hi.
That's it's still fuzzy.
All right. So, actually, I don't have the screen with me.
Right,
so
so-
I should probably bring you back.
Or we could tell you.
That's a scary face. He's coming right at us.
This is what FPV death looks like. Oh yeah. Oh, actually, this is something else that we did. You always want to lock in your lens. So I typically like to use a little
There
bit of
we go.
CA, because what's happening is as we fly, it vibrates. And
Right.
It
Yeah, that looks a lot better. Whew.
There we go.
So you're locked in now?
I'm locked in now.
All right, cool.
Now, if we had a circuit, this would be a place to run the circuit. Okay, let's see.
Oh, God. Here we go. We're flying through the building. Oh, man. There are a lot of obstacles in here.
And a lot of really expensive equipment.
So how much throttle are you giving it right now? Because you got the really big motors.
About half throttle, and I've lost focus again.
Oh,
See?
weird.
Yeah. The
Right.
problem is that every time I get vibrating again, it just it loosens that lens. Let's bring it back down.
So you can't lock it down on this?
I don't have any CA with me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's disarmed. But there you go. So this is a basic FPV craft. So this is beginner, but you notice how easy it is to make. This was actually not that hard, was it, Brian?
No, this is really cool. And the fact that you're able to do it all on the same circuit makes it a lot easier.
Yeah. What we're going to do is we're going to make sure that you get all the notes for this. So we've got the places where you can buy the individual pieces, the individual parts, including the goggles that I like.
They make you look so cool, Padre.
They really do. Now, this is a 200 milliwatt transmitter, but I also run a 500 milliwatt transmitter. That's if you want to get quite a bit a ways.
Okay.
But just remember, you need to play nice with the people around you. If you're flying in an area that has multiple FPV flyers, you need to make sure you're not stepping on other people's channels before you turn on.
Right. Isn't that the problem they had at the trials or the competition that they did?
Yeah. And the problem is, the way that people would normally check is you would turn it on, and if you have interference, you turn it off. But the problem is, in that moment that you turned it on, someone who's in the air, they just crashed.
Ooh.
Yeah. So don't be that guy.
Don't be
that guy.
Cool.
Well, folks, this has been a fun episode of Know How. We're back to our regular episode. In fact, next time we have a Monday episode coming up where we're going to be talking about, oh, that's right, the Amazon Echo and the Amazon Fire. Have you wanted to do some home automation or maybe see what you can pull out of a cheap $35 tablet? Well, that's going to be on the next episode of Know How.
Nice.
Yeah. Brian, if they want to find out the notes for this, where they could buy the individual pieces, where do they go?
The same old place, twit.tv/KH, and you can find the links and also a way to download the show if you haven't already, and subscribe.
Yeah. And don't forget that you can also find us on Google Plus.
That's right.
Go to the Google Plus groups and look for Know How.
Just look for this mug in a cartoon version.
Cartoon, and go ahead and request to join. I'll bump you right in, hopefully within a day, within 12 hours actually.
We're moderating the group. We want to keep the new Know How group, not
spam
out of control.
free.
Yeah.
Spam free. We want to keep it spam free. But it's also a great place to post pictures of your videos, ask questions, and to give answers if you're a more experienced builder. Of course, that's not the only place you can find us on the socials.
No, that's right. You can find us on Twitter, and I am at cranky_hippo.
I am at Padre SJ. And of course, our director.
The guy who kept telling us that the camera was blurry.
Yeah.
That would be Grumple.
Grumple. Hal Grumple.
Hal Grumple.
You'll find him at ANELF3. That kid.
Exactly.
It's hard to simulate that. Until next time, I'm Father Robert Palliser.
And I'm Bryan Burnett.
And now that you know how,
Go FPV. Get focused. Yeah.